What's up, everybody, and welcome to Two Old Souls, the show where we talk about the movies, the shows, the music, the people, the games, and most importantly, the memories that keep us young. I'm one of your hosts, Michael, and with me, as always, is Andrew. How you doing today, sir?
What's up, man? I'm just sitting here kind of thinking since I'm drinking this chocolate almond milk out of this
Uh
Clue cup that we got at the Alamo,
huh.
the free merch. I'm wondering when the next time we'll ever get free merch like this again, where you could, drink out of something or, you
I
know,
mean, free merch is one thing, just let alone going to the Alamo again.
yeah,
I miss
very
that
true.
place so much. I was thinking, yeah, like if the I think there's a lot of theater. I was actually just talking about this last night. A lot of theater chains like stopped doing those um, kind of membership programs or whatever, like the movie pass type things.
Right.
That they did. I feel like that was a thing for maybe just a little under a year, but they stopped. I think a lot of chains, particularly like AMC, stopped doing that because they found out that they were just losing money on it. But if they ever, once things are safe again, and this could even just be like a couple years down the line, like probably when I'm making more money. But if and when I can afford something like that, I'm probably gonna do it just because I miss going to the movies so much. Like,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think I think
yeah,
that'll be a big part of it. It's
yeah.
gonna that might rejuvenate a lot of these old little, things that kind of went away.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that'd be the
Yeah,
way we go.
one could hope.
Hmm.
I do want to circle before we get into today's topic. I do want to circle back around for those of you at home who have followed us either on here on YouTube or on Instagram at Two Old Souls Pod. I want to kind of circle back around and let you know I had a bit of an incident with the YooHoo earlier this week.
Uh oh.
So as some you who have seen our Instagram post would know, we did a little
Good pun.
taste test, our first edition of Two Old Taste Test, in which I compared Milo versus YooHoo, both of which I'd never had before. The Milo was a hit out the gate. I finished that can. One, finished that can. The Yoo-Hoo didn't quite do it as much for me. Um, so I left it and I put it back in the fridge, and a few days went by, or I guess it's probably in the fridge for a little over, maybe around a week at this point. And I think that was mistake number one. So I think I was drinking it with lunch for work on maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Now I can't quite remember. And the
Okay.
first thing that I noticed was, oh hey, it's a little thicker now. Like that's kind of cool. So it tastes a little bit more like chocolate milk, and you probably know where this is going.
Uh
And oh, it was Wednesday. It was Wednesday. So that yes, I remember now because during a staff meeting I had for work, I just felt really dizzy and I started to feel really like dizzy and queasy. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, what the hell is happening, man? Like, and then later that night, I had a movement or two in the bathroom that just did not sit well, and then I realized it's because I was drinking old ass Yoo-Hoo. Like that shit's supposed to be drank in one sitting. Clearly,
Yeah,
is it
you,
not?
you don't want to save that.
Okay, yeah, like
You
the
for sure don't want to save
chemicals,
that.
it sort of decayed and probably mutated on a molecular level, and that's what put me in the position that I now found myself in.
Dude,
So
you're like an X-Men now.
something like that. Yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
the fucking senator jellyfish guy who just like disintegrates on the table. He's like,
That shit was freaky.
yeah, it totally was.
But
It's like he was like Alex Mack powers, but it went wrong.
you drinking Capri Sun.
Mm-hmm. So that's a lesson learned. Drink your Yoo-Hoo in a single sitting. Don't be like me.
Yeah. See, that just totally ruined his whole life for you. Who now?
I
One of
guess
the
a little.
great America's greatest drink after Coke
Soda's never steered me
and
wrong.
Budweiser, I guess. Maybe people like Budweiser.
Budweiser, Coors.
Coors.
Did I tell you the story of when so my dad's old job. It was one of those offices where people, back in the '90s when everybody smoked in the office, right? It was a newspaper. He worked for Philippine News in South City,
Okay.
and yeah, it was just this, big bullpen room where there's all these drafting tables and people are putting together the newspaper. Very bustling environment. So everyone was either smoking or drinking soda because everybody worked long hours.
You gotta be wired
Yeah, exactly.
and not stress.
Yes, precisely. And he brought me to work a lot, and I think I just, um, you know, I drank a lot of soda as a kid. I was an only child, and maybe they didn't care
Yeah.
quite as much.
I did as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. So then I just saw maybe it was my dad's desk. Maybe I felt like, oh, it's okay if it's my dad's. Like he's not gonna care. Um, so there was like a can of Coke on his table or whatever. So I took it and I
Oh
took a sip,
god, I
and
know
then
where this is
I
going.
keeled over and I was choking. I was like, and I fell to the floor and I was kind of gagging, and then I realized I had like partially swallowed cigarette ashes because
Oh
everyone was using
god,
their Coke cans as ashtrays.
god damn, dude,
Yeah,
that's the worst.
it was
That sounds
disgusting.
terrible.
It was like right up there with the time I accidentally like ate sand at like 4 years old in preschool, but
I feel like a cigarette would be worse.
yeah, because it actually legit. I've never smoked a cigarette. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, so that's honestly actually the closest brush I have with cigarette products is accidentally swallowing the ashes, and yeah, it smelled like it was
Yeah, that'll
fucking
do it to you.
poison. Yeah,
Oh my god,
yeah, that was pretty gnarly.
that's hella funny though,
It's like adorably stupid, but also sad. Yeah.
dude. That happened. Okay, so when I worked at in the Sunset at that school,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give out names right
Of
now,
course,
but
of course.
there's this kid who was just super annoying, a little overweight, and she would just go and like ask people for food or like take their snacks, and uh we would do our homework time in the cafeteria. So I shared the space with like two other classes, and they'd eat their snacks while they did that. And someone had some barbecue chips,
Mm-hmm.
and this girl like was walking around a random ass tables, is taking stuff, and then she takes this bag of barbecue chips, and she pours the bag in her mouth, and then she runs over to the trash can. It ended up being like the pencil shavings
Oh,
from
that
like
sucks.
it was like that's what you get for
Exactly.
taking people's snacks, and that's what it reminded me of. But that was like the story of the school for like 2-3 days. It was great.
Dang, that sucks.
Yeah,
What about that?
Carmet is
What
fine.
about that time I found that bag of pot in your bedroom dresser? You told me you thought they were pencil shavings. And pencil shavings don't look like that. Like weed doesn't look like pencil shavings. Pencil shavings aren't green.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe back in the day,
I mean, it was
it
a
was a little more
flimsy,
brown. I think it was a little more brown
very
back in the day.
flimsy
People
excuse.
had shit weed.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of stems too.
Mhm.
Leafy. Yeah, I can see that. I could. Yeah. What movie was that?
That was Big Daddy. That was when Sonny's dad
yeah,
is
yeah.
cross-examining him in the courtroom,
Okay.
just going through all the bad stuff he did, why he feels he's a disappointment to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we already talked. For more about Adam Sandler, please visit what episode was Adam Sandler? I don't remember.
It's episode
number
2.
2, Adam Sandler's
Episode 2.
Golden Era. Yes, also available on YouTube.
Yeah.
And today this is an extra special episode. We're giving you guys we usually don't do week to week, but we have to this week because I'm moving next weekend, and I wanted to make sure that we didn't have too much lapses in content. And this is our 10th episode, so that's pretty awesome too. So
I'm excited.
Yeah, as am I. So yeah, let's just get right into it. This is going to be a little bit of a springboard from our episode last week, so last week we talked about our favorite video game consoles and console-based video games from our childhoods, sort of up to age 12 or 13. Kids menu rules, I think, is kind of what our cutoff usually is for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we are going to be talking today about our memories of, just going to video game arcades, because that's a thing that I feel like is really, particularly here in the States, that it's a really sort of a endangered species of an experience, I would say.
Yeah,
There are
and-
still arcades, but they just are not what they used to be.
Well,
for
also
sure.
bringing up like earlier with the free merch and just going to the movies, and I think hopefully arcades are one of those things that people just maybe begin to miss, because it seemed like that was happening before, but maybe this will rejuvenate a lot more of it, but we never know. So
Yeah.
hopefully they don't ever go away, but yeah, I could see it definitely going away.
Yeah,
sometime.
especially in a post-COVID world, we don't really know. So that's a really good point. Some of these places and experiences definitely really just kind of live on in our memories right now.
Right.
So we'll get into some of that today. I'm trying to remember my earliest memory of seeing an arcade. Like, I don't think I ever went to one in the Philippines, but I do remember when we first lived here. When we first moved here to the States, I lived in Glendale for about a year or so. So there was it was either the Glendale Galleria or the mall in Burbank. I always kind of forget, but I would go there a lot after school. Again, or after preschool rather, in daycare. I would get I drink some soda, I drink some Coke because they didn't give a fuck. Apparently, my parents didn't really care about my oral health. I'd have a Cinnabon, which, I was still pretty skinny. I guess I was processing sugar really well at that time because I was still pretty skinny. I didn't really start getting fat until after my parents got divorced. But,
Okay.
yes. So anyway, that's a whole other story. Anyway, but yeah, there was this small arcade, and I remember I would just want to go in there, and I wouldn't, my parents knew that I didn't know the difference. So they wouldn't actually, get me tokens or quarters or anything. I just wanted to walk up to the joystick and press the buttons and stuff. And I always liked walking up to the Street Fighter 2 cabinet because I think the term is the attract mode, when it just shows you a little sizzle reel of the game to get you to want to come up and play it.
Yeah.
The Street Fighter 2 thing, it was a cityscape, and there's these dudes cheering on these two people. The weird thing is they're not characters from the game. It's just a generic white guy and a generic black guy both wearing t-shirts, and they're just squaring off, right? And they're just bobbing up and down. And then I'm pretty sure it's the blonde white guy who knocks out the black guy in one punch.
Okay.
And then
I never really noticed the Street Fighter. I never noticed it was different. It wasn't characters that weren't in
No,
the
yeah,
game.
that's in the original.
That's pretty interesting.
That's the original Street Fighter 2 cabinet, and then it pans up the skyscraper, and then there's a big billboard that says Street Fighter 2. So that I just always thought that was really cool. And then but then I think Street Fighter, starting from Super Street Fighter 2, it's just a straight on shot of Ryu, and he's bobbing up and down, and then it's dark, shoots a Hadouken right at the screen. And that's probably the thing that's pretty common too. That's something that a lot of people saw. But
Okay.
yeah, so that was my kind of earliest memory of going to an arcade. And I think I remember even in that arcade in particular, maybe there was a guy working there who would take change from you. Maybe they didn't have a change machine or a token machine, but he'd have that sick ass, I'm talking about, that thing that holsters onto your belt, and it's just cylinders of coins, and you flip the little switch and the quarters come out. I always wanted one of those as a
people
kid.
at the carnivals,
Yeah.
they have that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
was
I think don't vendors at baseball games have that shit too, or no?
Maybe. I guess it depends. Yeah, I guess it would depend.
I would hope that they wouldn't charge for coins if they have to carry all that shit around, you know? But I don't know. I'm just trying to picture it. But yeah, carnivals and change dispenser, you guys.
Yeah.
But my earliest arcade memory is probably the Cliff House, from way back.
Okay.
You made it into a restaurant.
When it was still the Musée Mécanique thingy.
Yeah. The remnants of Playland, I guess, too. And
wait, where was
but
Playland?
they moved all that shit
Wait,
over to
Playland?
39, I guess. Old Playland, it was at the beach,
I don't-
the amusement park.
Oh, wait, you went there when that was still a thing?
From way back,
Oh,
from
okay.
way back in the day. No,
Okay.
but it's just the leftover shit that they used to have there.
Got it.
What was it, Laughing Sally, or shit like that? Little attractions.
The really old-timey
historic
things.
parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a tourist spot, but also had a really cool arcade with really old school mechanic games, but also Pac-Man, Asteroid. I guess maybe up into mid '80s video games. I guess they had a lot of that stuff.
That sounds right.
So it was that was a really big place for me. I used to love going there. And then it'd be a tie between I don't know, maybe movie theater arcades or pizza parlor arcades, pinball machines or Metal Slug. I first played it at the Alexandria Theater on off 18th and Geary.
Got it.
That was the first time I ever played it. They had a 2-story theater, and I think it was on the second floor.
Metal Slug was dope. We had Metal Slug at the Boys and Girls Club where I grew up after school. I just remember all those sound bites heavy machine gun or rocket launcher, shotgun, and that's a game if you're actually it's like Contra in that it's a shoot 'em up, and you're just constantly jumping around and everything like that. But it moves slow enough that like even if you're not that good at video games, like you can last pretty long on one quarter. You can at least like make it through a level, because like you know you can at least last up until the boss. But yeah, those were really, I always enjoyed those. There's like 10, at least 10 of those games. There's so many Metal Slug games out there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
And where else did I go? And I guess maybe when I was closer to like second, third grade, when I lived like in the marina, we'd walk to Pier 39 and go to the arcades there.
Let's go right into that, because I think that's for me, that's the gold standard of arcades, like just growing up here. So
there's two of them.
There was one in the front and one in the back. I think we might have talked about this on the show before, but
maybe.
Yeah.
So I prefer the one in the back.
Really? Okay.
It was less crowded and it had the Star Wars game.
Okay, yeah, I will give you that. But the front
other one had Mortal Kombat 4 and it was always popping.
The front one was insane, and so I tried to research this. I couldn't find any pictures online or anything. There's some people.
Crazy.
Yeah, exactly. There were some people on Reddit asking like, hey, does anybody remember this arcade, da 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 da. And you know, I did a little bit of research. So it was whatever, part of like a small, it was like a from Namco franchise, like it was called a Namco Cyber Station, which I remember.
The one in the back, right?
No, in the front. But they might have both been Namco. But
they had a lot of. I remember I could easily see the one in the back being like a Namco spot, but they had like the air hockey table and like that shit back there too.
Yeah.
More of the racing games and stuff.
Yeah, that's like true. You're really just like building it out in my mind right now.
Yeah, I went there like. I've been there a lot.
Yeah.
So I remember it pretty well. I don't remember like the front one as much. I remember it kind of like it was a little confusing. It was a lot. Two entrances,
it was a lot busier. Yeah, that's right. Well, because it kind of it was deep. So the thing was, and like the billboard had like kind of polka dots on it. And I remember that it was Namco now, because I remember I had like a small stash of tokens still left over from there, and they had Pac-Man on it. So
nice.
Of course it's Namco. But yeah, this is a place that I always would every time, you know, I went to Fisherman's Wharf a lot as a kid, you know, and it's kind of maybe because like that was still just within say 2 or 3 years of us having moved up here, so we were still pretty new and whatnot. And anytime, of course, anytime we had visitor like my parents' friends were visiting from out of town, or my grandparents or my aunt, we'd go there, and you know. I still remember my grandpa putting in a 20 or something to the token machine, and I was like, "This is how much money is like." That's how much. That's the first time I had a concept of like that. This is a lot of money, because the tokens just kept like coming out. In my mind, it was like 50 tokens, but it definitely.
Dude, I did that somewhere. Yeah. I don't remember, but it was quarters. It wasn't tokens, so it was like just a shitload of quarters. It might have been at a laundry place, but I need that much change, and I know what you mean. It weighed a lot.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, so the front arcade, yeah, it was crazy because it had bumper cars. Do you remember that? There was like a thing of bumper cars in the middle. I never did it, but it was just like I was like, this is cool.
It had that like sparky smell in there.
Yeah, because they had the chain link fence or whatever the fuck it is up on front, so you would just see the sparks from the bumper cars and everything like that.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's that. See, I forgot about that until you mentioned it.
That was the crown jewel, for sure. That was the crown jewel.
One time, someone let off a stink bomb in there. It was pretty funny.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it was pretty bad. It was a smoke bomb or a stink bomb. It was one of those, but it was pretty bad. It's like in the summertime.
Yeah, that place was so super dope. And again, I just remember probably wasting a lot of money, because like I probably wasn't very good at any of these games, but I just liked like again just the stimulation of it, you know. And it wasn't. So much, it was just like going over and looking at all these different cabinets and everything like that, and just playing based on what was available or what was or wasn't working, you know.
Yeah. I remember I wasted the most money playing the Star Wars game in the back with the little joystick.
Yeah,
it's like the first person game. I got to Vader. I don't know if I ever beat him, but that was always like my favorite game to play there.
Yeah, that one was pretty sick, and it was worth it. I think I do remember spending a lot of money on that particular, not there exactly, but some other arcade. But I remember investing. I'm like, I want to see this shit through to the end.
Yeah, because it's like $1 to play, I think.
Yeah,
or 75 cents.
Yeah. Because it's a big screen. You sit in the chair and everything, and yeah. And then what was I gonna say? Yeah, because the lightsaber levels were hard because it was. Yeah, the arrow would tell you which way you're supposed to face it, but it was the reversal of whatever the stick or whatever. So
Yeah.
if the arrow wanted you to go to the upper left corner, you had to pull the stick to the bottom right corner or
Hmm.
some shit. Like it was inverted, so it took a while to get that.
Yeah, and that's just I feel like that's just a ploy to make fucking
Hmm.
more money.
Probably. It's like Wayne's World.
Because no other part of the game was like that. It was all regular.
Hmm.
So, but I guess yeah. I don't use a lightsaber, so I wouldn't know.
That's true. Yeah, and it was either that, and then there was a Boba Fett level too, where
Yeah,
you're trying to like deflect all of Boba Fett's
that was pretty
blast
fun.
from the thing. Yeah, and then I had yeah, the thing that was the best for me at that arcade was the thing I always had to play there was the big, huge fucking 6-player X-Men cabinet.
Oh
The
yeah,
X
yeah,
Men,
yeah. Those are fun.
the X-Men beat
Yeah,
'em
that
up.
was hella fun.
That was. I just remember I'm like, oh my screen TV, like screen, like it was. It wasn't. It was like a cube. It was like just like a huge cube, you know, like it was like three standard. Yeah, I guess three. It's like three standard arcade cabinets all pushed together into
Mm-hmm.
one thing. Yeah.
I what was I gonna say? I think I went to that arcade when I was with people. I was more into playing like the air hockey
Mm-hmm.
or the not foosball, but what other games do they have?
I mean, you know,
Maybe pool. I don't know if they had pool there.
no, I mean there
It
was
was usually
probably
air
air
hockey.
hockey, skee ball. What else would there be? Shoot. Oh, probably. Well, maybe like the foosball hockey. Foosball
Hmm.
hockey, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, where it's like a little plastic dome over it and stuff.
Now I don't
Yeah.
know if there was a I don't know if there's a prize bin there. I don't remember at
I'm
all.
sure there was. I do remember because they used to have that thing where you just try and stop the light. You know, the light's moving in a circle and you try
For
to
the
stop it
tickets.
right at the. There was a. I don't think I was. That's the thing. Like, I don't think I was never a huge into. I was never huge into prizes. Only if I go to like Chuck E. Cheese and like you know that's really all you're really there to do. That's
Yeah,
all that's really
yeah.
worth playing anyway is the prizes and stuff. Like they didn't
I
really.
used to
I was kind of
like
an arcade snob as a kid. I'm like I don't really like the games at Chuck E. Cheese because it's all ticket games.
um I went there maybe in like 2010 when they still had the arcade and you know the machine with the coins, you push the coins and then you get tickets when you get the coins to fall over the little ledge.
I never understood how those worked. I know what you're talking about, but it's like, how do you win at that shit?
I don't know how we won, but the
Okay.
machine was broken that day, so it just kept feeding us tickets.
Oh, really?
Like it went on for like a
Okay.
good like minute and a half, and then but like we couldn't hold it anymore, so we just took the tickets and left. And it still wasn't like
Sweet.
we had like there's a video somewhere, but you know we were holding like armfuls of tickets, and it still wasn't enough to get us like something elaborate.
Basically, like you couldn't even
And they
get
knew like they knew what
uh-huh.
happened, like they knew the
Yeah.
shit was broken. But it
Yeah.
was like, hey, we got these tickets.
Uh,
So I think I was like 18 when that
Mhm.
happened.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I remember
man.
being really sad. I think it was maybe 2003 or 2004 when I found out that arcade was replaced. It was converted into a Hard Rock Cafe, and
At Pier 39.
yeah, the front arcade. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was gone a long time ago.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, at
The,
that.
the back one was yeah, the because the one I was talking about happened in the back.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, that one had stuff like Hydro Thunder and Daytona, USA and stuff and whatnot.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll just looking something up real quick,
No, it's all good. It's all good.
but I
Yeah.
can't find it.
I do remember exactly what you're talking about though. Bringing up Mortal Kombat 4. I just used to like watching. Yeah, the when you die or whatever
Yeah,
the game
yeah.
over countdown is just you're just falling until it reaches zero and then do you fall on spikes? I think don't you just
Mhm.
hit the ground? Oh no, you fall
No,
on the spikes.
you fall on the spikes
Yeah,
for sure.
and it's that stupid like you're like falling and you're rotating and your arms and legs are falling and everything like that.
Hmm.
But yeah.
With the like freaky music playing too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like daunting music. Yeah. That's interesting because I don't want to get into Mortal Kombat 4, but like that's like the first one where they changed the whole roster pretty much, right?
Yeah, there was a bunch of different folks. Like Quan Chi was a thing.
Yeah, it was like the same. It
Yeah.
was like characters with this like
Same type.
features
Yeah.
or traits, but just look different.
Yeah.
Um, But no, I thought it was cool. I really liked Mortal Kombat 4. That arcade game made me get the game on N64.
Yeah, I remember the N64 version of that actually being pretty spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't too different. Yeah.
Except the ending movies were a little faulty. Like,
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
if you compare it to like the PlayStation one, you would see,
Mhm.
oh, okay, that's why that happens. That makes sense because this
Mhm.
version is complete. This shit looks
Mhm.
incomplete. Um, yeah, but Pier 39 Arcade, I think a lot of it too was when I think about it, I could kind of smell like the area, like the
Like the
bunker,
air,
the bumper.
probably.
I
Yeah.
could smell that. I
It's
could
like
smell the water. I
yeah,
could
yeah.
smell like the food.
The seals, yeah, garlic fries or the smell of
Yeah.
garlic in the air.
Just fried food.
Yeah. So I think it was that was a real sensory experience for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That shit was, and I guess I didn't really think of it at the time, but since that was still, I wonder how many other arcades were like that operating in the city at all, and like what balance of people that was between that place must have made so much money off of tourism, just like off tourists passing through. But I'm wondering how many of it was like local kids, like probably like Galileo kids like rolling up after school or some shit, right? Or kids
I'm sure a fair amount.
kids from Marina Middle or whatever the other schools were that were just right there.
I'm sure there were a fair amount of them because I mean there's North Beach too, like it's right there.
Oh, that's true.
And there's
Yeah.
a few schools out there, so
Yeah.
I'm sure they did very well. They probably closed it. Like I don't know if they had to, but that was like when video games were really starting to pop off though. So maybe they had no choice.
Well, this
People weren't really socializing like that anymore.
Yeah, for sure. And this, and consoles, while really being a thing, I'm sure it was that was probably more, families weren't quite so hip to it, it's easier for a kid to just blow their money on blow their allowance money on, going to the arcade rather than, trying to beg their parents to buy them a console or something.
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of want to move to like another part of arcades because this was like I was still the same age, but my cousin moved out to Santa Rosa when we were younger, and I had family in the East Bay, so with family in the East Bay, they would have birthday parties. Like they would usually be at that place called the Jungle.
Oh boy,
Jungle.
Jungle.
The commercial where the kid's holding the N64 control upside down, they're like stuck in the house. You want to go outside, and it's like, and then they go straight to the Jungle commercial.
I know.
I had a birthday. I had a couple birthdays at the Jungle too when I was younger.
Okay.
And actually maybe like not a party, but people coming like to meet me there. Those are pretty fun. There's one in Concord that we would go to, but I enjoyed the play place way more than the actual arcade.
Okay.
So arcades were just like whatever, but the play place was like where it was at.
I remember that distinctly. Yeah. So for those who don't know, the Jungle was essentially a Chuck E. Cheese type deal, but there wasn't any like little.
It was like on steroids.
Animatronic. There were no animatronic robots or whatever.
Because I feel like the Jungle was like the whole thing was like the play place because it was throughout the whole, like a fucking huge area.
Yeah.
But Chuck E. Cheese was kind of smaller.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe.
I only went once. I went once to the because we had a Jungle here in Soma where like Bed Bath and Beyond and Trader Joe's is now.
Where the Toys R Us was.
Yeah.
I went to that one too. I don't think it was as good as the Concord one, but it was still pretty fun.
Probably not.
It was a fun one to go to. I think I'd like met some friends there before too. Yeah, I had a few like solo experiences there. It was pretty fun. But like at the time, you just like it was kind of cool if you just go to the playground. Like the Jungle wasn't always like, oh, you have to go there, unless you want to like jump in like tumble and shit. But playgrounds were just as sufficient.
Could you just go to the Jungle? I guess you could just because I remember sometimes just rolling into Chuck E. Cheese to be like, oh yeah, we're just here to have some pizza and we'll probably like play some games and shit like that. Like, was the Jungle similar? Like, like if you just wanted to. You didn't have to be part of like a birthday party or whatever to be there.
Oh no, because I remember going with like cousins. Like we would like it would be a day we all go together. But it wasn't any occasion.
Got it. Yeah. I think I once went to a place that was, very derivative, in San Jose. You ever heard? Is this place even still? Yeah. It's called Bambula. You ever go there?
Never heard of it.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it
yeah.
San Jose?
Yeah, I just Googled it, which is.
Let me look it up.
Yeah, I just Googled it too, and I went there
And
once.
I think till not too long ago, the jungle was still around in Concord.
Yeah,
It might even
I
still
heard
be
that
there.
it. I heard that it stuck around for a really long time.
San Jose.
Oh
Let me
my
see.
gosh, yeah,
Let me check
man.
out some images.
55401 Camden
Oh my
Avenue, San
God.
Jose.
Yeah, it looks
Uh-huh.
yeah, it looks exactly like what the jungle was.
Yeah.
And it's funny looking at these, like it still looks hella fucking dated. Look how colored it is and like the foam and the nets. um that's funny.
Damn.
'cause
Yeah. Yeah. God,
this- 'cause,
ball pits,
speaking of
man.
that-
Can you imagine letting your children play in a ball pit now?
Dude, I hated the ball pits. I never
Ball-
liked
ball
that.
pits
I
were
knew that shit
gross.
was dirty.
Ball pits were gross as fuck. They were all hella greasy.
Yeah, there's no way to clean those things.
Yeah.
Like when they got one at the after school job, I was like, that's hella nasty. You guys got to get rid of that shit. Like that's the worst purchase you ever made. But I brought up like the jungle because over in Santa Rosa where my cousin was, there was a place that had this like there was a play place as well, but it was Qzar, and
Qzar.
we would
Okay.
do laser tag there. And their arcade was okay, but you know you go there for the pizza and the laser tag and the jungle gym. But the jungle gym wasn't as fun. We always kept going back for the Qzar. That was like the the only laser tag place that we knew of.
Oh,
but
I'm
it was
sure.
also like
Yeah.
it was pretty cool to go. Then we got bigger, and you know, like the jungle gym isn't as like fun.
Yeah, you can't
anymore.
really fit in them anymore. I think
Yeah.
I think I was never super huge into those because I think I cried the first time I went into one of those because I got lost. It almost felt like an episode of Rugrats. I'm pretty sure it was at a Discovery Zone. When my
Oh shit!
yeah,
I forgot
when-
about those.
yeah,
See,
when
that's
my-
another one of those things.
when my family and I first moved here to the States, and I was alone, you know, so I just remember probably one of those corner parts, the bubble windows on either side. It's literally like a hamster cage or city or whatever you call them. But yeah, I saw my parents there, and I was like, I'm stuck or something, you know. I was definitely starting to freak out, probably getting a little claustrophobic and whatnot. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
I would too.
that's probably why I'm not huge on play places.
Oh, yeah, I could think of some that were like just super nasty. Like a couple of the McDonald's ones I went to out
I'm
here in
sure.
Pittsburgh.
I'm sure.
Yeah, downtown.
Uh-huh.
It's gross.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, Qzar was super fun, and then like, I'm not sure how much I'd like want to get into those places because the arcades kind of sucked. Like,
Yeah, they
had the usual,
they
like-
weren't the main event, you know what I mean? Yeah,
it
yeah.
had like the usual stuff, like the fighting game, the gun game, the racing game, and
Like
then,
what,
the
like
sports
one
game,
of
maybe.
each, but it was always kind of like
Yeah.
the worst possible choice. Like instead of
Pinball.
Okay, in your opinion,
Pinball's fun, but
yeah, pinball's always fun, that's for sure. But like, so in your opinion, what was kind of like the best racing game, like arcade racing game, sort of at the time? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people would probably would. There's probably a lot of debate there. Like a lot of people would probably say like the cruising games. You know those?
is that you think that's the worst one?
No. I think
the best one?
Well, I would say they were everywhere, but I don't think like in terms of like how they actually felt driving and shit. I feel like maybe the Daytonas were really good, or the Rush games like San Francisco Rush.
It's
or whatever.
funny, like I don't even know the difference between a lot of
Yeah.
them. But I remember
yeah.
like when I learned how to drive, those games became a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure. No, the cruisins were fun because you could like pop wheelies if you just press on the gas twice.
Is that the motorcycle one?
No. So there was like Cruisin' USA. So
That's on Cruising USA is like on SNES, isn't it?
maybe, yeah. Well, it was on N64. It was like Cruisin'
Okay.
USA or Cruisin' Exotica, which is all around the world and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the San
Yeah.
Francisco game.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Oh, speaking of arcades in our heyday, do you remember the arcade in the Metreon?
Oh, the fucking what they call it, the airtight garage or whatever.
I don't know what it was
Yeah.
called, but it was like they had their own
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
set of games.
Yeah, it
and-
was like they were only games you could play there or something.
Yeah, it was pretty. There was like a bowling one
Uh-huh.
that like has different parts of.
Yeah, it was just the
There's
giant.
a lot of other
It
very obscure, very like futuristic style games that
Uh-huh.
never really connected with an audience. Like I think.
Yeah. That was Metreon was something else entirely. That was
And they had the PlayStation
Uh-huh.
store in the bottom, so you could go play PlayStation all day. I haven't seen a store like that since. That was pretty dope.
yeah. So apparently this place here in the Metreon, it was based on a French sci-fi comic comic book series or called the Airtight Garage
Okay,
or something. Yeah.
that's why it was so
That's
like
why it had
niche.
it had such a niche kind of like fantasy steampunk
Mm-hmm.
kind of aesthetic and everything like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like yeah, man. That's like to me, that's like the Metreon at its purest when they had stuff like that.
Yeah. Before it just
Um,
turned into before it just turned into a mall.
That's pretty yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much what it is, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, it's always been kind of a
I
mall, but it
mean,
was like
yeah.
Sony
It
and
was but before it was a mall with a vision, it was like Sony's
yeah, it had the
monument Sony's
Discovery
monument to
store
itself.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it even had like some play like yeah, it had a Sony like music stand, and then it had like a laptop store upstairs. Like it was pretty cool. They had the Where the Wild Things Are restaurant.
That was a pretty dope play. Yeah, I went to a birthday party there for once.
Yeah, I like the Metreon. But I just remember the arcade there, and I remember it was pretty wild
It
arcade.
just seemed really expensive because there was nothing I recognized, you know?
Yeah, you need the card.
Yeah,
To
that's
play
true.
too.
That was the first time I saw a card. Like, that was around the time like Dave and Buster's started to become a thing and whatnot. Speaking of like just ice cream parlors and stuff, did you ever go to Tunes?
Oh my!
Yeah, let's talk about
dude.
Tunes for a second, bro. Shit.
Okay, so I moved out to Daly City a little later, so like I wasn't here that long but I did catch it like on its way out, and then I thought the food fucking sucked.
The food
but
was
I
terrible.
liked the
Yeah.
place. It was cool.
I went
for,
there-
like,
yeah.
out here, you know.
For me, that's where I played the Simpsons game. That was my spot to
Yeah,
play the Simpsons
I remember
game.
when I came out here because
Yeah.
I played that game. Okay, so the only other place I had played that game was in Guerneville, kind of near where Evan's cabin is. But up there was a water slide place, or it was a miniature golf place. But it was one of those places they had an arcade. I'm pretty sure it was the water slide place, and they had the Simpsons there. And then it closed like in like 2003 or something.
Yeah.
And then moved out here to Daly City, and Tunes. I saw a commercial for Tunes on TV. I was like, oh, could we go try that? And we went. It wasn't that good, but yeah, the Simpsons game was there, and I was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I haven't seen this since like whenever.
Who was
however young I
who would you use? What character would you go with?
I would always like to be Bart or like Lisa, but Marge was so easy to use.
Yeah,
'cause
she
of
had
fucking vacuum
Yeah,
cleaner.
she had the biggest. She had the most reach.
Yeah,
It
so
was
I
like-
used Marge for
Yeah.
sure.
And then Bart was the fastest because he had the skateboard, right? He would kind of
Yeah.
just zip around. What did Lisa had the jump rope? That was her thing.
I think so. Yeah. I couldn't. It was hard for me to be Homer because like he just makes me laugh. So I didn't want to. I wanted to be focused.
You couldn't really take it seriously.
Even in like the road rage game, he's like, "Get in! I've got candy."
I've got canners. Out of
Yeah,
my way, jerk ass.
Yeah. So even that shit makes me laugh.
But
But yeah. What else do you remember about Tunes? Because I don't really remember.
I
too much
just
about
remember,
Tunes.
yeah. So I would go
They had
there.
ice cream, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly an ice cream parlor. I think that was the thing they really had going
Okay.
for it. It had definitely had sort of aesthetic. I went there every year for a couple of years in grade school because I would always have. I think there was this kid. I think maybe one of the kids on my soccer team. This is a kid I played with like multiple times. Like we just wound up on the same team for a few years. So anytime I was on his team, we'd have the party there because I think his parents had a hookup or maybe they owned the place or something like that. But yeah, I just remember the thing I remember the most is if it was somebody's birthday, they'd have maybe you remember this. They just have like a police siren on the ceiling, like one of those cherry top, rotating siren light thingies. So if it was somebody's birthday, the light would start spinning and it would kind of like a siren horn would go off like brrrr.
Oh,
And then
okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then they
Yeah,
just had a bass drum on a stand that was filled with stuffed animals. You could see inside the drum, and they would just like pound the drum crazy if it was somebody's birthday. It was so freaking obnoxious, but I was like, oh, that's fun. Dang, there's no pictures of Tunes on Google. Hella sad.
Okay, I'm trying to look for the spot that was in Daly City. So when I went to Jeff, so I was hanging out with this group of people, and one of the friends that had just moved here from, I guess he was from San Francisco too, but he was like, "Hey, I found this secret arcade on the way to my house. You guys want to check it out after
Okay.
school?" And we're like, "Yeah, hell yeah, let's do it." Because like I lived in Daly City for a few years, and like I didn't really go to that part of Daly City as much down near like I guess where Planet Fitness is,
Yeah.
like in that little vicinity. Maybe all the way up until Walgreens. So I never really went over there that much until I went to Jeff. So we were walking around, and then he brings us to this little street that's not that far from Jeff, but it's a little closer to Bart maybe, and it's just we go in, and it's just like a little fucking ghetto ass makeshift play place, and it's like those little maybe fourth party games, and they're like all for toddlers.
Was it the place
was
with
like-
all of like the blow up places, like the bouncy houses, or? Because I know there was a place like that in the neighborhood.
It probably was something like
Yeah,
that, but
yeah.
it was. I thought it was like the jungle, but it was like super low budget.
Okay.
So it had like some maybe slides, but it did have like a lot of that
Yeah.
bouncy shit. But
Mhm.
I was like, we went in there, and we were like 16 years old, and it's like, dude, did you come in here before you told us about this place?
Yeah.
Like, this is
Did you
terrible.
scope this place out beforehand?
yeah. Even like the dude that was working there was like, hey, how could I how could I help you guys? Try not to be like rude, but it's like, get the hell out. You don't have any business here. And there was no one there. I don't even think, I know it's not there anymore, but this is a funny little like anecdotal
Yeah.
thing for that time period.
Yeah.
It's just what? Okay.
Uh.
That's strange. So I think maybe the only arcade around here now might be like the one in San Fran or
Oh yeah, that's true.
Classic Bowl. I don't know.
I guess if anything, yeah. So that was So speaking of sort of places that don't exist anymore, I get really sad every time I drove by this the other day coming home from IKEA, but the last sort of before, I would say the last place that I really was. That really had a special
I know you're
place in
about
my
to
heart.
talk about. Yeah. Okay.
Malibu Grand Prix.
Yes.
R.I.P. Malibu Grand Prix.
That place to me closed out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I thought they were like doing well, and then I just remember driving by, and it was like not fucking there.
So this was a mini,
go all the time. Batting cages,
mini
and
golf, batting cages, go-karts.
the arcade's pretty good.
Those dumb little bumper boats that squirt the gross ass water at you. Yeah, the arcade was great. I remember, I had certain just staples, because not every arcade had everything. So I think that is the arcade where I started to really get into fighting games more as a kid, at least like marginally so, because they had Marvel versus Street Fighter. So that was, and it was one of those, because it was one of those things where you'd have the sticks, right? But then it was a huge, like, big screen TV as the monitor, instead of just your standard arcade cabinet. So that's what was super cool for me. Like, it just filled my entire field of vision, And there was Tekken 3 there as well, which was really, that's where I started to get really into Tekken, I remember. And then there was some other game too that had, Malibu Grand Prix had more of this was like another gimmick that's not really so much a thing anymore. Like extreme sports games where you're standing on like a fake skateboard or standing on a fake set of skis or riding a jet ski, those types of things.
But I couldn't get on like the motorcycle or like the snowboard and feel comfortable.
Oh, that's true. I mean, it's not supposed to feel intuitive and comfortable. It's supposed to be hard, so you pay more. You keep paying for it.
Yeah, that's why I didn't enjoy it. I was like, I'm gonna go play this game instead.
There was a cool game though called Arctic Thunder. I think it's probably the same people who made Hydro Thunder.
Okay, that sounds very familiar.
Or as they say in the game, Hydro Thunder. So that was a crazy dope ass like dystopian futuristic like speedboat racing game. But yeah,
I guess a game I want to touch on before I forget is the gun games like Doom.
Oh, dude.
And Area 51.
Area 51.
Time Crisis.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Time Crisis?
Yeah. Of course, yeah. Let's give some love to the shooters out there.
Even like the deer hunting games sometimes weren't too bad.
Big Game Hunter. Those are hard.
Yeah.
Those are really hard. Yeah. Virtual Cop. But I don't think you never really saw Virtual Cop. Well, actually you did, yeah. And then there was other shit like Lethal Enforcers or whatever.
Yeah. But I think my favorite was Area 51. With the people running at you, which is fucking weird. Or but those cop games where you shoot the actual people that are just like animated.
They're just the digit, yeah, like Mortal Kombat style, the digitized.
Yeah, those are pretty fun.
Uh-huh.
Those are something I don't see too often.
Yeah.
I never even played those like on I don't even think they'll have those on like console gaming.
Oh my god, how has nobody cosplayed as the Area 51 guy yet? The dude, got the uniform on, and
There's like a few of them, right?
yeah. He's always like, come on, or whatever. Like, then what was the other one that looked exactly like Area 51? Is like called like Maximum Force or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. This guy. We should have this guy. Let's use this guy in the promos. Oh my god.
Just have him running at you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look up because so recently, like in the last, when I say recently, I say in the last 4 years. Me and Adrian, we were going to Scandia for a while.
Oh, nice.
Like we went like maybe 2 or 3 times over in Roanoke Park, and I can't see if it's still open. Like I'm pretty sure it's not, but I don't want it to be closed down, so I'm trying to see
you
like
can go back when it's time. Yeah.
Yeah, and the only thing I could find on it is they have a website that was updated in 2011.
Oh my god, this is taking me back. Just these rail shooters, man. How bad I was always so bad at not shooting hostages. My trigger finger was just too itchy.
Me too. But when I got glasses, I got better when I was older. Okay. It says it's open right now, but I don't know if I don't know how accurate that is.
How current that is. Yeah, you never know.
I mean, like you look on Google, like open right now. Yeah. 11 to 7.
The thing that was hard for me with Area 51 and Maximum Force, and I think why I like Time Crisis better, just the gun was heavier with Time Crisis. Like Area 51, the gun, I just felt like it was hard for me to be exact because the thing was so light. Or sometimes like the cord would be kind of tangled somehow.
Okay.
Just through like wear and tear, but yeah. Time Crisis was dope though. I always liked having my foot on the pedal or whatever. That was a really cool mechanic.
I got better at that game because they had it at the Metreon, and then when I got older, we started going there more. Yeah. And even after like all the arcades closed down, but you know, like up in the movie theater, they have that strip of games, and I think that's one of them.
Oh and, for sure.
We would play that while we were waiting for like the movies. So that was really fun. And then there's another one there was one in Pittsburgh or Antioch. It was called Golf and Games. I don't know if it's still there anymore. And there used to be one called Golfland. We used to go there all the time.
Yeah, Golfland in San Jose is still a thing, as far as I know. Yeah.
I hope some of these places are still around because those are really fun. It's good to go like when you
history. It's a recreation,
especially with batting cages. Like I appreciate the batting cages too. But as far as like, if you want to move on a little bit to like, did you ever eat the food there like at these places, or was it just pizza, or did you ever like react to anything else?
Yeah, I mean, well, at Tunes I would eat obviously because those were soccer game. Like again, my like end of season soccer parties. So I just remember a lot of subpar, stretchy cheesed pizza. Of course, I would eat at Chuck E. Cheese. We talked about this last week. I'm like, yeah, Chuck E. Cheese actually had pretty solid pizza. It's a lot of just nostalgia is probably blinding me there, but I would. Even the worst pizza is better than, say, a really shitty burger. I will say that.
That's a good point. Yeah. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last shitty pizza I had from like an establishment. It might be like Chuck E. Cheese or something, you know?
Yeah.
Because I went there like, I don't know. I think I went there in high school for a birthday. And I just remember being very underwhelmed by the pizza. So
yeah, and then I think that's pretty much it for just circling back around to Malibu, trying to find my like train of thought before like the thing went south. But that's pretty.
They had go-karts there.
They did.
I never did Did they have golf there? I never.
Yeah,
did the
yeah. No,
golf,
they had golf. Yeah.
I did the racing and I did the batting cages most. I always just passed through the arcade.
I did that.
I think I did the arcade like, if it was a birthday party or something.
I last went to what do you call it, Malibu, I think maybe 2007 it was still around, or 2008, because I went with my friend and his cousins, and his cousins were all trying to hit the balls into the freeway. Maybe that's why they closed. They probably got too many complaints. You could you got to find just the right spot to like huck it though. Like you gotta find like a slope.
You gotta be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your short game's gotta be pretty good. You gotta use
thanks a lot. They fucked it up for all of us.
Gotta use a 9-iron.
Oh shit. I can't find any like. I went on Instagram to see if there's any pictures of like the Pier 39 arcade.
Yeah, there really isn't. No, I know one place you can find photographic evidence, because I remember it was the first time I was like, oh my god, that's a place that I've been to. Ever seen Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there's this scene where, and it's like, one of those kind of dog camp POV shots. There's a scene where they make their way through Fisherman's Wharf, and the first thing you see is like the arcade right there on the right.
Okay.
Yeah. So I haven't seen
That
that
makes up
movie
for it a
since I
little
was a
bit.
kid, but yeah, I'm probably gonna watch that and just to feel something,
Mhm. Yeah, now I gotta check it out.
Mhm.
That wasn't in. I went to a movie yesterday, a couple days ago. That wasn't in one of the SF classics. I'm wondering what the fuck.
SF Classics? What it?
Yeah, Homeward
Oh.
Bound 2 in the
Oh, yeah.
in the DVD section.
Oh, interesting. Anyway, it's on Disney Plus, so for sure.
Nice.
Has to be, but yeah. And then, I think coming into right around, and then of course Dave and Buster's opened at Great Mall. I think maybe when we were in 4th, 5th grade, and I went there, and I thought that place was pretty dope. But then that's where the turn started to sort of shift, where it's like, there's a little bit too much of the ticket games, and just and not so much of like the actual games themselves. I think it's a little bit better now, but yeah, like arcades just aren't what they used to be, and yeah.
And I guess like it really wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I feel like
Especially with home console gaming being what it is, there's really no need for that anymore.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we went to the one in Alameda.
Dave and Buster or High Scores. High Scores,
yeah, and that's not even really like an arcade to me.
Yeah.
That's just like a room with video games in it.
Yeah.
I guess maybe one of the closer things you have now is round one.
Yeah. That's
but-
round one's pretty solid.
But even that, like, I don't have the
It doesn't feel the
excitement to
same.
go anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like since the location of it is more of a suburb, I get the idea that a lot of kids from the local high schools hang out there because it's at the mall too.
Yeah.
So I don't really have like an incentive to go to these places anymore because I'm not like a youngster.
Yeah.
So it's I feel like it's, even if they do come back, for me it's kind of past the desire to go back. So I feel like I'll be trying to get that feeling again, and I just won't have it.
For sure.
I'll be hella frugal and like I won't want to eat the food.
Exactly.
And I just won't enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, and like even at round one, you have to use cards now. It's like a membership.
It doesn't
card.
have that
It's not
same.
even-
Yeah, dude. There's just something
Yeah.
very visceral about dropping a coin, a quarter, or a token into a slot and just hearing it, like chink in or whatever, like jingle in with the rest of it, and you hear the little switch go off or whatever. It's something that's just very sensory. It's just really satisfying.
Some cheap dopamine for sure. Because
Yeah.
that's our
It's like
childhood,
gambling.
and
It's like
our
it's
thing,
like
and-
gambling.
yeah.
It's the same shit as like playing a slot machine, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's this thing I've been meaning to go to for years, and hopefully, I'm sure probably like once everyone's vaccinated, this kind of shit can happen again. But they have this thing out in Santa Clara every summer, like late July, called California Extreme, and it's just an arcade expo. All of these people, sorry. All of these, that was really awkward. My bad. I had bacon this morning, so my throat's a little fucked up. Hence,
I thought you were going
heavy.
heavy metal. I thought you were going heavy metal on me for a second.
Berserker.
You're like, yeah,
Like
fucking place.
a little Hulk Hogan there for you. Yeah, hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, brother.
Check me out. 3 Ninjas, High Noon and Mega Mountain, now available on VHS, brother. So anyway, all these people people who just have, pinball machines, arcade games in their collection, in their private collections and stuff, they all just come together in this ballroom at this hotel in Santa Clara, and they basically just convert the ballroom into a massive fucking arcade, and everything's on free play. Like you just, it's like going to a convention. You just pay $35 to be there all day long, and
Right.
you can just go around and play with everything. I've been trying to go for years, but I'm always wind up having to go on like a family vacation or some shit, and so it never works out. But one of these days, I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
because I think
you have to
that
go
would be the
if
best
they
way for
still
me
do.
to that
Yeah,
would be
if
the
they
best
still
way
do
for
it,
me
for
to
sure.
relive just feel this way one more time, at least one more
Mm.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I hope we could do that again. I'd like to. Um,
That would be sick.
um,
Yeah, that would be sick. We
so I
could,
didn't take advantage of like the other. I didn't take advantage of like the Penny Arcade or anything out here, and
or
or the Nickel
Nickel
Arcade.
City. Yeah.
Yeah. Round one even I didn't take advantage of that. Now I want to go to like Golfland or Scandia because I want to try some bumper cars or race. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just want to do some stupid shit.
Yeah. And in the meantime, I feel like I'm probably just gonna start figuring out how to do emulators again and just doing that shit on my computer
Mm.
because now I just want to play beat 'em ups all day and just for fun.
I
Yeah.
mean, luckily,
Yeah.
like that Xbox I bought, it has
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those games on it.
That's
A lot of the
pretty.
beat 'em
That's
ups. I
pretty
think
sick.
The Simpsons one is on it for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to see
Um,
some footage of that in action because I just
yeah,
want to kind of see how it
I
goes.
mean,
Yeah.
I think before this all went down, I was trying to like meet up with you so we could play it,
Mm-hmm.
but it just I think when you moved, it was like, yeah, let's do it. And
Oh yeah, probably. And
then like right
then
like a week later, I think that it was like, oh, we're gonna get
not
sick.
so much. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
It's all good.
yeah, it's just a weird time to do this one because like it just so happens we can't
It's a
do
little
it.
FOMO-y, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Which it's just, I think it's kind of the nature of, I think nostalgia is an inherently bittersweet thing. So I
yeah.
think that's okay. That's sort of exactly kind of what's happening here. But, it's like,
And so I
yeah.
think what we need to do is make a pact, like an
Mm-hmm.
American Pie, to like
To the next
to
step.
do a follow
Mm-hmm.
up show once everything does open up and we go to an arcade, and it could be like, so this could be a nostalgic conversation,
That's
like
true.
so we
Yeah.
don't like, hey, remember when we couldn't go to the arcade
Yeah,
and like that. I hope we come back around to that. And
for sure.
everything comes back around for
Yeah.
sure. So
fucking for sure.
if we got to go out of state, if we got to go somewhere like
Yeah.
underground,
There's
or
all these,
speakeasy
yeah,
arcade,
there's all these
then
legendary, there's all these
by
like,
God,
there's all these legendary arcades that are still open, like in the
Mhm.
Midwest and stuff, like some place called like Aladdin's Palace and stuff, like stuff that just has really, it's like, yeah, a little borderline.
Genie's lamp.
Exactly, like and a lot of these places are like kind of borderline culturally insensitive in terms of the names, but you know
Okay.
they're trying to like Noah's Arcade in Wayne's World.
Mulan's
Like, yeah.
Pagoda.
Oh my God, I hope not. But I just remembered this other game. I just wanted to get it out of my system. This is really, I think they were kind of capitalized on like Tango and Cash, like those buddy cop kind of things from the
Mhm.
80s. Have you ever heard of this? It's called Lucky and Wild.
No.
It's pretty dope. You should look it up because the way it works is, so it's a driving game, but it's also, so it's a driving game where you sit down and there's a steering wheel, that whole bit, but it's also an on-rails shooter. So you
Nice.
you guys
So you're
are,
moving and shooting?
yeah, no. So the thing is, one person gets to do the driving, and
Oh, I played this.
there's two guns. Yeah. So then the other partner has to do all the shooting.
Oh, dude, I
Yeah.
wonder if this shit's on my fucking Xbox.
Yeah. And
It
I
looks
just
a little too cool to be on it, but maybe it is.
yeah. But I just remember like, oh, that's so cool. Like one person, it's like that scene in The Matrix with
Mhm.
Jada Pinkett and Ghost. That was what their dynamic was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I just remember that was at Pure 39 at the Namco Cyber Station too.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Damn, dude, I wonder if Scandia has an Instagram page. Like, I'm really curious right now. Because, like, it'd be just weird that we can't do this, but if they're open, it's like, hey, we can actually do it. I'm not going to go do it, but.
Just
You know,
knowing
like-
at some point, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Let's see. They have a page. I don't know if it's been updated. October 23rd, 2020.
I don't know. I just want to watch all this.
I guess they do it.
Uh-huh. Dang. Now I'm probably gonna just stay up late, download it, do it, getting like MAME emulators or something like that, just so I can have a little bit of this in my
Mhm.
system.
Okay, the
Yeah.
outdoor golf, go-karts, batting cages, indoor jungle golf, and an arcade are open. That was as of October 14th, 2020.
That might not be the case right now because
Yeah.
things aren't that great, but
I mean, I would really
Yeah.
hope like your kids don't go to the jungle gym, but you know what? Maybe a go-kart would be fun. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
you
I'd
can
bring my own
sanitize it.
wipes.
You can sanitize a steering wheel,
Yeah, you could spray down some shit.
spray down a helmet, maybe.
Which
or-
one? Which one is this one? It doesn't say which one this is though. Yeah, I'm not sure like which
Mm.
location this is at,
Mhm.
but Yeah.
What did you like? I mean, did you like it better? I mean, I'm wondering what the rationale was for tokens. Was it just so people? I mean, it really forces you to spend that money there at the arcade because some people, I'm sure, like
Yeah.
malls probably had an
Yeah.
issue with like people using the quarter machines and then just going to use it for like laundry or like bus fare or some
That's
shit like
exactly
that.
what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
it
But like at
really
the same time, like
bottlenecks your.
that scan, like depending on what the location is, like
Mhm.
you didn't need. I don't know. Maybe at some older places where there's
Yeah,
parking meters, I guess that'd be an issue. But
that's a good point.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of these places have parking lots, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't really need change for any of the things that they offer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, maybe it's just a brand
Yeah, just
themselves.
branding because they all had, and I'm sure there's people who collect one of everything, like how people collect state quarters and shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably someone out there who has just like binders that have all different tokens from all these different arcades and stuff.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Mhm.
Oh fuck, that'd be a good thing to have.
that would actually be a pretty sick collection.
Yeah. It may not be
Yeah.
worth anything, but it'd be like, oh,
It's
look
just,
at this.
it's
You've
just a
been-
fun practice. Yeah.
It's like a bottle cap collection.
Yeah. Did you hear about the guy who's? Did you hear about the mint starter set of Pokemon cards that just sold at auction this past week?
Mm-mm.
$408,000.
Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh? I kind of want to forget about like that cards
The card.
because I had so many of them and
shoot.
I have nothing to show for it.
It's so, I only have like a fairly bare bones binder, like which I guess I'll hold on to. But,
I had
yeah.
a second edition Charizard card.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it would have been worth anything, but like I'm sure someone right now, like with my record on my online selling, I probably could have got it off for a
Probably,
fair
yeah.
amount of money.
You do pretty well.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
I don't like thinking about that because I had a lot of like same thing with like my old WWF tapes or action figures. Like I hate looking at the market because it's like fuck, I had so many of those things and I just gave them away.
Mm-hmm.
So until I could get my hands on more of them, I choose to
That's fair.
ignore it.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
that's probably not good of me, but yeah, it also helps with the nostalgia too. So when I finally do look, I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, I really miss this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's I think
beautiful shit.
it's I didn't expect this this of all topics. I didn't expect this episode because yeah, I guess you're right. This is something we can't really easily access. We're always talking about a movie we just watched or have at our disposal or whatever the fuck.
Mhm.
But this is a different flavor. So it's pretty interesting shit, you know. And
Yeah.
we going into double digits. I guess it just stands to reason that like there's another layer to this.
And I'm starting to realize that I didn't go to arcades to play video games. It was just more of like a.
It was just an experience. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was a vibe.
It was like going to Disneyland for me. Like just again the
Mhm.
sights. It was the sensory experience of it all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Just the company and
Yeah.
like, and you could make friends there too. I remember meeting a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of wish like when you see like certain movies that take place and people meet in the arcade, and like sometimes I'm like, oh man, maybe I missed out on that era. But I was doing
Yeah.
the same things
Yeah,
like
you
at
had
the
it. Oh, that's
movie
good.
theaters and like just it's the same thing, just different locations, right?
Yeah.
So like I might have missed out on like the cool arcades from like way back, but like we have some stuff they didn't have back then.
That's
so
true. Yeah, we had
It's all right.
Like
I had a car, so I get a lot of people didn't have.
we
their
had
own
an
car.
we had an arcade that
so-
smelled like sea lions and smoke
Hey,
bombs
yeah.
on occasion, so that'll do.
But you could get like some clam chowder and it'd be all right,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the fuck you get over there. Corn dogs.
Donut holes,
Well,
garlic
yeah.
fries, Forrest Gump themed popcorn shrimp.
I feel like that might need to fit into our fast food topic, the tourist food from Pier 39.
I guess,
feel like that
yeah.
might fit
I mean,
into-
anything that you
yeah.
just walk up and throw some money down, and if it's in your
Yeah.
hand in under 5 minutes, then it's fast food.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would say, or 2 minutes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go on that. Yeah. We'll set some rules, and then we'll reach out to our prospective guests.
Yes, that'd
Yeah.
be fun.
All right then. So I think I think that's pretty much it for me. I mean, really though, I guess for me, just the secret sauce of the whole thing is what we just talked about. Yeah, just that whole, just the fucking barrage of sounds, the excitement, the beeping and blorping and the explosions or whatever the fuck, and just you're really eating with your eyes, just being like, oh, what's that? That looks cool. Like just the whole the sensory of experience of it all. It's just really that was the secret sauce for going to an arcade for me. It's the way it attacks and entices you all at once.
Likewise, and also thinking about like the one at the Cliff House. The ones that I've been to have been able to really represent the time period, I guess, very well. Like Qzar had like black lights, around, and I feel like that's a very '90s Y2K kind of thing. Maybe because everyone was wearing like like silver colors or like satin or I don't know, like windbreaker kind of gear all the time, but it seemed like when I picture these places, it's a very certain aesthetic, and it seems like it fits into that perspective in that time.
Yeah,
like spiky hair, like goggles almost, like sunglasses,
kind
like
of,
shit like that.
Kind of punk rock.
Shells.
It felt like like almost felt like a punk rock club or something, because it was always kind of dirty and dim, and the floors were sticky and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but when I think about the Cliff House one, that was like my taste into the past of San Francisco in a different way, I guess, because there's a lot of historic stuff there, but it still kept the aesthetic of like, I guess, maybe how it looked when it first came out, like a lot of wood, a lot of like colors like that. So yeah, I think arcades have been and when I think about like golfing games and the jungle, it just has like a theme to it that really fits the time period. They don't stand out too much, so they're nice little callbacks, and that's nice for me.
Yeah.
For like looking back, but I guess like when I was going there, the sensory overload was amazing. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and I think we needed that too. I don't know. I think that really brought us in. Like, that sort of had that. It felt like a group experience. Yeah, it was like going to a concert or some shit. Like.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess like nowadays, since there's such an overload of like different kind of stimulation, to where maybe kids aren't as like impressed.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
I can't say that because I've been to field trips with kids going to places like that, and they're still blown away sometimes. So
I think it's just not as widespread. They just need to be. It's just we have a responsibility to show them the light. Yeah. So it's possible. You just gotta people don't know what they want until they see it. That's a good point. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's some Jerry Springer level daily thought shit right there. So I think that'll about do it, unless we got anything else.
I'm trying to think. So last week I thought of something right when we signed off, and I can't remember what it was now. But
I forgot about that too.
I don't think so. I think we nailed everything.
Yeah.
As far as like games, I used to like watching people play DDR. I thought that was hilarious.
Sure.
I used to try to play DDR. It was fun. It was hard. Good workout. What else? There was like that boxing game that was like a virtual reality kind of. You put the gloves on your hand. That was big at Pier 39. I remember. Hard though. And I think that might be it for like games I used to like watching people play. It was like those two games. For whatever reason. But other than that, yeah, I can't think of anything else I'd want to talk about for arcades. It just good blast from the past, and hopefully they don't ever go anywhere. And maybe I'll take a trip to Scandia.
Maybe.
Why not?
And it'll come, and we'll all
No
get
rush,
to see these
but
places
I'm
again.
down.
No rush for sure. Well, yeah, that'll about do it. So thank you guys all for listening. We'll be back in, I guess, a couple weeks after I'm settled in moving and whatnot. Check out, so for sure, just remember that nostalgia can be a fickle thing, or sometimes a little bittersweet, but it's all good. Just don't get too wrapped up in the past, because we got lives, that stuff that it requires our attention now, but it's always fun to kind of dip back in. Winners don't use drugs, which you'll see. And we're too old for this shit. Bye.
Peace.